Hello, everybody. Welcome to the February live reading wrap-up show. I have two of my friends. I hope I can call them friends. I have Beth from Beth's All Booked and Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. Obviously, I'm Gwen. You're here on my channel, so hopefully you know me. But if not, welcome. Do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Maybe tell them what you like to read and kind of videos you do and stuff like that. Beth, why don't you go first?
Okay. My name is Beth, and I read like 90-ish% thriller, and then every once in a while I throw in a romance or some random kind of read, but thrillers are where it's at. I like them more so in the crime, like subgenre. The darker, the better. I like the grit. I like the details, all the triggers. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of reading vlogs, but I've kind of leveled back from that, and I just mainly do random, like, book recommendation videos, wrap-ups, TBRs, lots of book hauls, because I have a book buying problem, but it's okay. And yeah.
Nice. And what about you, Ashley?
Hey everyone, I am Ashley. My channel name is Ashley's Little Library. I also read mostly thrillers and then a lot of horror and then a lot of romance kind of sprinkled in there too. The occasional fantasy when I feel like reading about some fairy stuff going on, but for the most part, reading the spooky stuff too. I do reading blogs, recommendations, fun stuff, challenges, all the usual booktube staples over on my channel. But as Gwen says, I typically have the salty opinion on well-loved books. So if you're all right hearing someone bash your fave, then come hang out with me.
I'm like, ooh, this was my favorite book of the month. And Ashley's like, I hated that book. And I'm like, okay.
I feel like I have polar, like opposite opinions from like you. A lot of the books that you like, I don't really like, or other thriller readers. But I feel like me and Ashley have more in common than me and you do. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
good.
it's like we're so different, all three of us.
Yeah.
But the same.
Right. It's like we like the same genres, but we like different things about it.
Which is
So
cool.
here's just some people. Yeah, I like that. Hello, everybody that stopped by and is going to watch us chat. We do have lots of books to get to, and we're going to play Reread, Rewrite, Burn. So I think that will be fun, like a fun way. I know some people do that with their wrap-ups. I know like Jan from Jan Agaton, she does that for her wrap-ups, and I just thought that would be like a fun way. So I put all of our like books and like mugs with our names on it so I can like draw different rounds and stuff like that. So saying hi. There's Paul. I love that. I love that. Like anytime you do like a live, he always like pops in and is like supporting you. I think that's so sweet. Anyway, okay. So I wanted to go ahead and say also, if you're interested in doing one of these live reading wrap-ups, I do have like a form linked in the description box, or you can just like reach out to me on Instagram. I've also been reaching out to people that I'm just interested in doing one of these with. So those are ways if you're interested in doing it. Maybe I don't know you as well, or I haven't reached out to you. You can just like fill out the form or reach out to me. So, do you both do monthly wrap-ups on your channels like already?
Yes, I do.
Yep, me too.
And when do you usually do those? At the end of the month, or you do them like at the beginning of the next month, or does it just like depend?
Beginning of the next month, because I read until the very last minute.
Nice.
Of the month.
Mine kind of depends. For this month, my wrap-up will be out tomorrow, so it'll be out the last day of the month just because I got ahead of it and decided to go ahead and call it on the month. I guess it kind of depends on if I feel like I really want to talk about a book I'm in the middle of, then I'll wait till I finish it and include it in the month. But usually it's like right there, either the last day or the first day.
When I used to do them, I used to just say, okay, I'm still reading this book and I might finish it before the end of the month, but like I have the time to film right now. So I'm just going to include it in the next month. Like that's how I used to do it. And that's why it also got annoying to me to do monthly wrap ups because I never knew when to call it, you know? So I like these much more. Okay, so for books that we read, Beth said that she's already, all of her books are on her shelf. So I've seen her picking some off. I don't know if she has all of them, but first we're just going to hold up the stack of books that we read this month, or we're going to try to hold up the stack of books that we read this month. All right.
Very precarious.
I don't have all of mine.
I know, but Beth, you got some big ones in there, girl. Look at that. That's awesome. And also you can check the description box, and I listed all of the books that we individually read. That way, if you have a particular question, we are keeping this spoiler free, just like a normal monthly wrap up. But then you can reach out to us individually on Instagram or something like that, because their channels and their Instagrams are linked in the description box as well. So if you have like a spoiler question you want to ask them, you have to reach out to them on Instagram. But if you have like a spoiler free question, if that makes sense, you guys know what I'm saying. Anyway, more people are, let's see, lots of people. I don't even remember where I was leaving off on these. So many people. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Marcy.
Yeah, Marcy's in the house. So many people. I think, so how many books did you guys read this month?
I have 13 if you include my DNFs. If you don't, then it's 11 full books.
And what about you, Beth?
I have 15 so far, but I am currently halfway through 2 more.
All right, I read 17. I only have 16 of them here. One I returned to someone that I was borrowing it, but I did read, let's see, I think it's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 graphic novels. So, those read super quick, and it's not like a full novel. So anyway, okay, so for shortest book, what is the shortest book that you read this month? Mine was one of my graphic novels.
Mine was Heartsick by Chelsea Kane.
Nice. What was that one about, Beth?
This is, there's a serial killer who kidnaps a detective. The detective is on the case. She kidnaps him, tortures him, and then 10 days later, she lets him go and turns herself in. And she's called the Bloody Heart or something. Anyway. And now he's like dealing with PTSD and a drug addiction from the torture. And he goes to her for help on another case it's a police procedural crime thriller. It was a
very interesting. You're like,
yeah,
it was
sounds
okay.
really interesting.
We're like, ooh, that sounds good. And she was like, it was okay. Yeah. That's why I feel like I love talking to people about the books, because you're like, ooh, that sounded so good. But then they're like, it was all right, because you can't really tell us like, the spoiler part. So, and then what was your shortest, Ashley?
Mine was Crossroads by Laurel Hightower. It's a little horror novella, and it was 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It's about this woman who's grieving the loss of her adult son, and she begins making sacrifices at his death site because that's helping her see his ghost more, and she's trying to bring him back. And it is very intense, very triggering, but really solid horror novella.
Beth is like, add it to the cart. As soon as she's triggering, she's like, I'm making a note of here. Okay, so mine was one of my graphic novels, Book Love by Debbie Tung, and it's just like a collection of comics, actually. And I do love her comics. They're all done in black and white, though, and I feel like if you're going to bind them up in a collection, you could have thrown some color in there. Like, even if it was just like every once in a while, like maybe on some of the full page spreads or something like that, like on that, you could have done color. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. And since it's about like books and being a book lover and a reader and stuff like that, and I'm a book lover and a reader and stuff like that, I feel like all of the stuff in here, while it is super relatable, it's also like stuff that I hear and know. I see it all over the internet. We talk about it in the bookish community all the time. So it was good. I rated it 3 stars. But I think it would make like a good gift. Like, you wouldn't like go out and buy this for yourself, and someone did gift this to me. So I appreciated that. So that was my shortest.
I think reading with Jess said, was it okay because it was so short? I think she's talking about my pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a little over 300 pages, so it's not really that short. It's a full-length novel. Why it wasn't so interesting is because like the serial killer who kidnapped him and did all of that, there was only like bits and pieces of that case in here. And the other case that they were working on was kind of boring. And I wanted to know more about the serial killer that captured the detective and tortured him. And then he wound up falling in love with her. So I wanted to know more. But I heard that this is a very well-loved book. So like the ratings on Goodreads is great. But I heard that you hear more of that later on in the series. But that's why it was just kind of okay for me.
Are you going to continue in the series?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, yeah, of course I am. Awesome. And then someone said about your author, Ashley, that she's amazing.
Yeah, I really want to read more from her. So if you have recommendations, Marcy, let me know.
Nice. I'm sure she will. She always has like a good recommendation. Or if you liked this, try this one. Okay, so what about the longest book that you read this month, or you think it's the longest book? Oh, Ashley, I feel for you with that one. How did you? Yeah, I know. I saw she did a reading vlog of this one, you guys. If you haven't seen that, sorry you pushed through it. I wish you would. Every time you were like updating,
Kulti,
I was like, DNF.
Is Kulti the one you were reading at the same time I was reading this, and we were talking about the slow burn pain?
Yes, yeah,
that's hilarious.
This was it. It is hilarious, and these are both. But I pushed through this one because, like, it wasn't terrible. I think Mariana Zapata does a really good job with slow burn, but I feel like in this one, and I buddy read this with Sarah from Sarah's Shelves. So when I do a buddy read, I will give myself that extra push, like, come on, you're buddy reading it, you have to read it. And I probably, even if I wasn't buddy reading it, I probably still would have finished. I rated it like 3 stars, I think, which is a good rating. But I just felt like, okay, so I said in my TBR video that I saw someone, and I remembered who it was Chloe, said that they say poop a lot in here, and that they mentioned that the soccer coach is German a lot. And I don't know if like it's going to show up on camera, but all those dog ears right there are where it said poop. It was a lot. And I have no offense to that word. I mean, obviously I'm saying it myself. Like, it's not like a triggering word or anything, but there is no reason for an adult romance, slow burn sports romance book to say poop like that much. There's just no.
Was it like trying to be erotic content?
No, thank gosh. I would have to. No, but it was like, I guess he's like really famous, and the soccer coach is really famous, and it was always kind of her thing, like to put him on a human level with her, like he is a celebrity, but like poop, everybody poops, like that sort of thing. But like, say it once. We got what you mean. We don't need to keep reminding everybody that everybody poops, because we know, Yeah. And it was just over and over and over again. And there were other things too that just like didn't make it my favorite. But yeah, it was all right. It was all right. And what was your longest book, Beth? It was Pieces of Her.
Pieces of Her by Karin Slaughter.
And how was that?
This is my least favorite Karin Slaughter,
yes.
But it was still forthcoming. It was still good.
Oh, okay.
I would say,
go ahead.
I would say it's more of a mystery than a thriller. So it reads slow. And that's why I think a lot of people don't really like love this one compared to her other work. And it's not, I mean, for a Karin Slaughter, this is probably her most toned down, but you have to understand what I read to know, like, there's still a lot of triggers in it, but I still enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the adaptation that comes out this coming week.
Oh, it's so soon. That's awesome. I actually did try a chapter or something with that book, and I read the first chapter, and at first I was like really bored in the chapter, and the chapter was really long. But then I got to the end of the first chapter, and I was like, oh, that's so cool.
All of Karin Slaughter's books, at least her standalones that I've read, the first chapter it's going to suck you in, because most of the time it's a flashback chapter, and it's like really dark. And to me, like, that's the part that I want in a thriller, because I want them thrills and them chills, and she delivers. But this one wasn't as like Pretty Girls, Blindsighted, you know. It was still good. It's a mystery. If you love mysteries, I think you would love this book.
Did you see what Jesse said? Surprise, surprise, Karin
Oh,
Slaughter.
I read 7
so
Karin Slaughter
many.
books.
I know. If you look in that description box, she's like, I read this whole series by Karin Slaughter. I'm like, whoa, that's dedication. I love that. She'll be ordering it tomorrow. Paul knows. Pieces of Her is the only Karin Slaughter I've read, and I didn't love it. How does it compare to other books? Well, I think she answered that. Her least love. Hey, Deja. Yeah, I hate it. It's just like such a weird word. Right. My shortest this month. And Every Morning the Way Home. Oh man. I've heard that is so sad.
I started that this month and I was like, no, not this month.
Not now.
Emily, did you
longest of the
love
month.
that book? Sorry.
Which one?
The one that's on the screen? No, the 11, 20,
Oh,
63.
I rated that one 3 stars, I think. But I think it's just because I don't like historical fiction a lot. And it was my very first Stephen King. So
Okay.
I didn't really know like that he likes to just kind of talk and just talk.
It depends on what era of Stephen King you're reading. I did read a Stephen King this month, and it is not a long book, and it's not full of just like, you know, but I think it depends on the era of Stephen King that you're reading. But that one is that I have it, and I started it many, many years ago, and I haven't finished it. But I am a Stephen King fan, so I'm cool.
Yeah,
with
I mean,
long
I'm
books,
slowly
you know?
starting to like develop a taste for his writing, like kind of understand, like after talking to Marcy and, you know, other people that are like dedicated Stephen King fans, watching your videos, like which ones you wanted to read this year and stuff like that. I thought Marcy's video about her Stephen King reading journey really helped me. And I only have like a few on my TBR. So I'm like, I'm gonna get my way through them this year. You know, I'm gonna try. But yeah, most people really do like this one. I just think it's funny that I have like yet to read a horror book by him. And I'm like, I feel like that's what he's most known for.
I don't know, because I haven't read a ton, but out of the ones that I read, only one would be classified as a horror. A lot of his books are not even horror. I mean, they may be shelved horror on Goodreads.
Right.
I read one this month called Dolores Claiborne, and it is shelved as horror. But Karin Slaughter's darker than that. Like, to me, that wasn't horror. That was like a feminist thriller, if you will. Also Misery, I wouldn't even classify that as horror. That's more of a thriller. A lot of his books, I personally that I've read, they're not really scary. That's what made me hold off on Stephen King for a long time, because I'm new into horror and I am a chicken. But I've read a handful of
I do not believe you're a chicken.
No.
Because all this dark stuff you read.
No, the stabbing, the slabbing, you know, whatever, that doesn't bother me. The things that get me is the paranormal. I will not go to sleep. That will be up. I tried after I read It. I read It last summer, and then I tried to watch the It movie. Nope. Can't
Did
do
you
it.
try to watch the old one, like the 80s version or 70s version, whatever?
I watched that one, and that is highly entertaining. I don't know why I was so terrified to watch that one when I was younger, because it's a joke, but like in a good way. And then I tried watching the new It's. Nope.
No.
Not for me.
Well, I watched It when I was like a young child. I think I was like in 3rd grade or something like that when I watched It, like the old one. And yeah, crazy. I was scared. But I've never gone back and rewatched it, you know?
I watched it and it was especially because like you see these actors that like the dad from Sister plays in It, the mom from Smallville plays in It, and like they're in their prime in It versus, you know, their
That's
parents
funny.
and the other shows. So that was kind of cool as well.
Yeah, that's funny. Have you read any Stephen King, Ashley, or like have you watched It?
Yeah, I've watched more of his stuff than read his stuff. I really like The Shining. That's been my favorite that I've read so far. which is horror. And then I read Revival, which is one I don't hear talked about a lot, but one of my real life person I know, recommended that book to me. And I like that one too. It was a little more hoary. And then I read Joyland, which is the like carnival one. And then the Elevation novella about a guy floating into the sky. That one's weird.
All right. You're like, that was weird.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. Let's see what else people say. Deja, Kulti is my favorite Mariana spot of the ones I've read. And I loved Spanish Love Deception. They're both incredibly slow burn. And I totally agree with the overuse of the word poop. So unnecessary. Yes. Yes, exactly. You'd already be drunk by now. No, you'd be really drunk. You'd be like comatose by the time you read that book. Pieces for Her was not great. Oh, unfortunately. Yeah, Jessie loved it. Yep. This week, Beth? Or I mean, this coming week it's coming out. Oh man. All right, I'm gonna have to get on that. Friday. Ooh. Nice. I gave it 4 stars because it was missing a little something, but I loved that ending. I don't know what I was expecting from 11/22/63. Plus, when I read it, I read 2 other huge. I read Outlander the first Outlander book and the second Outlander book, and then I read 11/22/63. So it also could have just been like I was just over the long books at the time. But I kind of didn't have a choice. I was doing like this challenge thing, but yeah, it was not good. I loved Pretty Girls and The Good Daughter, but I really want to pick up False Witness and Piece of Her. I have False Witness on my TBR. Pieces of Her I got rid of because I wasn't hearing like good things. And I read Pretty Girls, but you know what? Everybody talks about how dark Pretty Girls is. And I literally do not remember that book at all. So it could have been that dark because I don't remember.
I think it's dark.
I don't think
it's dark.
That book was traumatizing.
It's not her darkest book, but it like the dude literally puts a bag over a woman's head and pees on her. Like it is.
Yeah, like
okay.
Violent.
That guy said it, but
it's
like,
very
I don't
violent
know.
Against women.
Is it? Okay. Maybe
yeah.
I'll have to reread it because I still do have it. I kept it.
And children because some of the victims were like 14, 15. But yeah.
Okay. Maybe I was like half asleep when I read it. Like everybody always talks about how dark it was. And I remember at the time like thinking like, oh, this is kind of dark. But usually when something's really dark, like there's things in the next book that I'll talk about, my favorite book of the month. So if you guys want to get your favorite book of the month ready, I was like, I don't think I'll ever forget this. But yeah, it's been a while since I've read it. So Trusting Beth just picked up False Witness from the library.
I can't pick one favorite though. Like
okay, you don't have to pick.
I know I'm
favorite.
struggling.
Oh, I'm not. I only had 1 5-star read this month, so it was really easy for me to pick. I've never read a Stephen King.
I think I had 10 5-star reads this month, so I can't.
Whoa, Beth, that's incredible. Well, she read a lot of Karin Slaughter. She read all the Karin Slaughter books. She cheated.
Well, I read 7 Karin Slaughter books. But I also read Dolores Claiborne, which the audiobook, let me just tell you, golden. Like one of the best audiobooks that I've ever listened to. That was phenomenal. But yeah, and I read Verity. And like, don't come at me, okay? But Verity is a dark-ass book, y'all. I read it once.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I
read it in 2018, and I didn't remember it being that dark. But now that I have littles, that was rough to get through. I read it again, and I was like, she is a wicked, vile human. That was pretty dark, but I had to give it 5 stars because I didn't like the characters, but it got me like heated and worked up and second guessing myself and looking over my shoulder, making sure Verity wasn't about to come kill me. Like,
I know Jordan. Jordan knows what I mean about the Outlander and then 11/22/63 times. Also, so Verity, I've never reread it. I only read it once, and no one ever talks about that first chapter where they talk about the head being squashed like a walnut or something like that. And I was just like, ooh! I was like, I'll never get that out of my head ever.
Yeah, I honestly forgot a lot about Verity, but
What, Ashley?
I forgot a lot about Verity, but then Beth was rereading it, and then I saw Katie Colson was reading it for the first time. So then I was like watching her reading blog and reactions of that, and it made me remember all of those really dark things in it. And I'm like, man, I really want to reread that.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
liked it
what it
more
takes
this
sometimes.
time. I liked it more this time that I read it than I did the first time that I read it.
Okay, so that's a good point, Lauren. She says Pretty Girls isn't dark, it's super violent.
Well, I guess
I think she was mocking the statement of saying Pretty Girls isn't dark, like she's dead.
I
Violent.
would hope so. If not, somebody go to Lauren's house and check on her.
Yeah, make sure she's okay.
Because the themes in that book.
I'm gonna have to reread it now, and then I'm gonna have you guys back on and be like, okay, guys, you were right. You were right.
Yep.
Let's see. Think about how dark that book is. Marcy, please read Pretty Girls ASAP. Do it, Marcy. All right, Denise needs to read it too. Pretty Girls was good. Not many dark books do. I think I watched too many thriller and crime shows, so reading it doesn't have an impact. Well, see, I would say that. I would agree, because I do read like some dark things. I like listening to a lot of true crime and documentaries and things like that. But Beth also does that, you know, and she's saying it's dark. So that makes me think that I have forgotten stuff. My girls, I'm with Gwen. I liked it and gave it 5 stars, but I don't remember much. Yeah. See what? Okay, I'm glad I'm not
Y'all
alone.
just need to like do a buddy read and reread it. I'll reread
I
it
was
too.
traumatized.
I really loved it.
And we're all gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I will say that it's not the darkest. It's not even the darkest Karin Slaughter book. But compare it to other books that people claim. People say this is dark.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? Like compared to books like this or Ruth Ware or Riley Sager, it is dark. But if you're a horror reader, like someone who reads like Anya Alborn or like those kind of books on the daily, they're not going to think it's that dark. You know what I mean? Like I guess it just also depends on what you would consider dark. I say it's dark. It didn't like make, I don't know. There was a scene that made me want to throw up. But it's like, I don't know. That's the whole point of reading a thriller, is reading something that's going to make you want to throw up. In my opinion.
Right. I agree. I like dark stuff for sure. So, Ashley, you didn't like The Push that much, right? Or did you?
I did like The Push. Yeah, I did.
Okay,
It was like a
good.
4-star for me.
All right. And what about you, Beth? Did you read that book, The Push?
No.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because we were talking about that before. And you were like, oh, yeah, I might read it, but you got spoiled or something about one thing?
Yeah. Well, but when I said that I got spoiled, people were messaging me and I told them what the person spoiled in their wrap up. And they're like, yeah, that's a big part of it, but I still think you need to read it. So I do plan on reading it.
I think I was one of those people because I loved The Push. Absolutely.
But
I think you could know everything about that book, I think, and still enjoy it, because it's not like trying to be surprising and twisty. It's just like very psychological.
It's like,
so even
when
if you know what's going to happen, it's good.
It was like that's why a lot of people who put all the trigger warnings in videos, I don't watch them anymore, because to me, like, if I give you all the trigger warnings to this book, I literally just told you what the entire book is about. So, and that was part of like, she's that kind of person, like she, you know what I mean? And she went too far, in my opinion, with the trigger warnings, and kind of gave away a major thing in the book. Anyway, go ahead, carry on.
All right, Deja wants to know, what would you say is Karin Slaughter's darkest books of the ones that you've read? And also, Beth just put on Instagram, she did like a Karin Slaughter reading guide type thing. So if you follow her on Instagram.
Hard. I did that one like last year. I just reshared it again. It's so hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard to say, because like one book was about a cult, and like they buried the children in the ground and then they died there. Like they buried them alive. This one's about a man who cuts their chest open and then, you know, frocks them in the hole that they cut in their chest. Like all of her books are pretty triggering. This is my favorite one by Karin Slaughter. I've read this one twice. This is the first in her series though. But you could read it as a standalone. I just read one that made me cry by her. Like, I don't know. They're all dark. I can't really tell you which one's the darkest one, because like there's one that has to do with like child. There's one that has to do like there's dark themes in all of them. But I would
it just
say
depends like what your like darkest
triggers
theme
are.
would be.
Yeah.
What's triggering? Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Verity is so good. No, I mean it
Yeah.
is, of course. I don't have a favorite this month. It's been a great meaning month, but I'm reading Razor Blade Curse now. Yes, I loved that book so much, Deja. Oh my gosh. And Beth and I just both got Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby this month. So I'm really excited about that one. Is the darkest. Yep. Yes, read the push. But don't go into it expecting like a thriller.
I've heard
Because
that
if you
as
go
well.
into it, yeah, don't go into it expecting a thriller. Yeah, everybody wanted to know. I knew it was someone that I knew did not like it. Which is so good.
I feel like as I was watching all of people's like top books of 2021, The Push was mentioned the most. In almost every person's video, they mentioned The Push. I feel like it was a really loved book last year.
Yeah, it got me from the synopsis. I think anything with like motherhood and like stuff like that. And if it's it was marketed as a thriller, at least that's what I thought it was going to be. So that had me really like interested in stuff like that about it. What's this one say?
I feel like the month marketed it as a thriller.
Yeah.
And then changed their mind later on. They do that a lot with a lot of their books. When they first put it on there as a main pick, they put it on there in the wrong category.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Probably. Okay, so we did our longest book. What was your favorite book of the month? Did y'all pick? Did we already talk about that?
I think this was my favorite, what I already talked about. So I'll honorable mention a romance.
Okay. Yes, I liked that. Beth liked that book as well. Mine was Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. And I would say this is dark.
I read the entire Grant County series by Karin Slaughter this month, which is 6 books long. And all of them but one were 5 stars. One of them was just 4 stars because I didn't like one of the characters in that book. I don't know. One that I feel like nobody ever talks about that I really loved was Sworn to Silence by Linda Costello. I don't have a copy of it, but it's an Amish thriller. But let me preface this by saying I am a police procedural lover through and through. So it is a police, it's a detective book, but it was so good.
Nice.
That's going to be, I don't know, a non-Karin Slaughter answer.
Yeah. Let's see. I think we have a perfect child. Okay.
That's a lot all at once.
Yeah, it's kind of like all about. All right, Jar of Hearts. Yeah, this one I think was. It was I did like a author taste test video for this one and Little Secrets, and I didn't really like Little Secrets, but I have found from watching other people that read this author that that's like usually their least favorite, and this is usually like higher up in their favorites, and this was just like really good. I wish I would have read Little Secrets first and then read this one, but yeah, this was just really good. And my next question is a book that you would like recommend. It doesn't have to be like your like the favorite book that you read, but I'd definitely recommend this because I just think it's a really good thriller. I think it's accessible for like people new to the genre. I think that if you're looking for something dark, twisted, well-paced, crazy characters, time jumps, but that make sense and don't have you confused, I would say read that one. And what about you guys?
I don't want to feel like a broken record here. But I'm going to recommend the Grant County series by Karin Slaughter. I will say, like, it is a series. You don't have to read them in order because each book is a different case. And, like, our main character is a coroner, and she also is, like, a doctor as well. And her ex-husband is the police chief, so you get to see him in the book. And then you also get to see his partner, Lena, who is a cop as well. But our main character is Sarah, and each of the books are really dark and stuff, but Karin Slaughter is really good with writing like character dynamics, whether it be like the sister relationship in a book. So like in Pretty Girls, you have like that sister relationship, even though like their relationships are fucked up. She's really good at still keeping the bond there. I would recommend it. And I would recommend if you just read one of them though, Blindsighted was my favorite.
And that's the first one in the series. So that's kind of good.
Yeah.
That way, if you want to continue on, it's not like you're like going back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this person
and then like the Grant County.
Vladimir, it will end like this. Good rich people, these silent woods, the arrangement, and the Paris apartment.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. It will end like this. I keep seeing that pop up, and I couldn't remember what that was, but it's the one that's the Lizzie Borden retelling. It's like a YA ordeal, so I'm gonna have to look into that one. But Good Rich People, I'm hearing really good things about that, so I'm gonna pick that one up too. These Silent Woods was my answer to what I would recommend to the most people, so that's good timing.
Nice.
I saw so many people hated this because Gabby did our live show today. This was her book club pick for the month, and so many people didn't like it. But I think they just all went in thinking it was a thriller. It's not a thriller, not a thriller at all. It is a literary suspense, like slow drama. Do not expect twists and thrills. But this is the book that I think has the biggest wide appeal from what I read this month, because it's like more literary. You're really connecting to the characters. It's emotional. Like something you could recommend to your mom.
Oh, okay, that's good. All right, they have a question for you, Beth. Have you read the, series?
No. It is on my Kindle though. That one gets recommended to me a lot because if people know me, they know that I am highly addicted to serial killer books. And like, I love when there's an FBI agent involved or a cop involved or a detective or a private investigator. Like, I like the detective parts in books. I know a lot of people don't. But when I talk about romance, people either recommend that book to me or that series to me or the other one with the serial killer artists. I don't remember what it's called. But those get recommended to me a lot, like from the romance genre. I'm reading a Jennifer Hillier book right now.
Oh, which one are you reading?
Things We Do in the Dark.
Oh,
is that
okay.
the new one?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I've only read one other book by her, which was The Butcher, which I really enjoyed. This one's not as dark as that, at least not yet. But it's really interesting. I don't know. I don't really have like a big opinion on it because I feel like I haven't really got to the meat and gravy of the book yet. I'm 50% in though, so that kind of like do with that for what you will.
Yeah, it was interesting because I feel like Jar of Hearts was really dark, but then like Little Secrets wasn't dark at all. So I feel like maybe she has.
I'm gonna have to read Jar of Hearts. The Butcher was dark, but not in the sense of like the dark that I like. So I don't know how to explain it, but they don't go into like when they find a dead body. I like the detail. I want to know about like where they were sliced at, like the darkness. You know what I mean?
Where were they sliced?
I want to come up on a crime scene with the characters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, this one is about the main character. It starts where she's like in the witness stand testifying against this old boyfriend of hers from like 14 years ago or something like that. 14 years later. So her best friend was chopped up and buried, and she's testifying against the guy that, and then she ends up going to jail because she knew where the body was the whole time. And then it goes from there.
I will say actually in the newest book, the title Things We Do in the Dark is the name of a podcast. And one of the characters that it follows is a podcast host, which you don't see that in the synopsis. Like I didn't know that until I started reading the book. And a lot of the characters in her newest one are Filipino, which is what Jennifer Hillier is. So there's like Filipino rep in.
I love that. All right, here's one taste test for $. Nice. Yeah, I only had those two on my TBR, but I'm definitely interested in picking up more. So The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. It's coming up soon. I'll be reading some Lucinda Berry for the first time. All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. That's a hard-hitting book. Every Heart a Doorway. Nice.
Love those.
What I don't
Yeah.
understand about those is they're novellas, but we out here paying full price book prices.
That's
Why don't
true.
you do that?
Yeah.
That's why I won't buy them, because I don't want to pay $20 for 100 pages of a story.
I know. I think I've only read like the
Listen.
first 5 or something like that. And then I was like, I'll get to them eventually, you know, but I'm not going to pay that $20. I'll wait till I find them at the book exchange.
Or the library, but they're so
Yeah. Let's see. I need to give more Sarah Connor a try. I think her standalones. I think I'm gonna try the series that you recommended, Beth.
A lot of people don't like detective books, right? BookTube is like the thriller people. They don't like detective books. But let me tell you, I have a book club called the Dead Red Book Club. And most of the books that we choose are detective type books. And I think we only had 1 month where a book was a flop. Because like we started out with False Witness by Karin Slaughter. That's not a detective type book. The main character is actually a defense lawyer. And then we read like The Fourth Monkey by J.D. Barker. It's a detective book, but it's so good. Like you just have to give them a shot. If you like darker books, I'm telling you, that's where the dark is in these police. Because you get like in The Fourth Monkey, you get the perspective of the cop and you get the perspective of the serial killer. And you get to see like the crimes go down, the cops you get to see that, you know, it doesn't just stop at, okay, they caught the guy. You get more information, and I'm a nosy bitch and I like that. And it just reminds me so much of like watching true crime stuff. I don't know. Yeah. You have to give detective books.
I used to read a lot more like crime fiction. Like I pretty much read all of like Patricia Cornwell's Case Scarpetta series. And even though she's not like a detective or anything, she's a forensic pathologist. I used to love books like that. I used to read like a lot of John Grisham.
She's a coroner.
You're like, hello, get on in. But then I started thinking that, I mean, that was like, you know, I kind of had that and then I kind of switched kind of genres and stuff for a while. And then I started reading like, I guess, thrillers that had detectives in them that weren't done well. Because I guess it wasn't like a crime kind of one. It was just like this random thriller that had a detective in there. So then I started thinking that I didn't like detectives and like detective POVs and stuff like that, where I think that I do. I just think that the ones that I read were crap. You know what I'm saying? So I think if people read good ones, so go to Beth, get the good recs and give them a try.
I do also find that a lot of the detective thrillers that I find that are really good are dated. So like, well, The Fourth Monkey that I was talking about a second ago it's like 2017, but the Patricia Cornwell book, that's what we're reading in March for my book club.
Yes.
And that was written in like 1990 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
These Blindsighted books were written when cell phones were not there at the very beginning of the series. And then they just became a thing towards the end of the series. But to answer somebody else's question as well, her standalones, besides Cop Town, her standalones aren't detective books. Sorry.
No. There are no scenes I want to talk about, Beth. All right, let's see. Yeah, Jessie didn't like that one too much. Yeah,
I think she would like so much of Bob Saget's death, the book, which it was written before
I saw you talking about that. That's weird.
Because he was like, he got famous in this sitcom series in his younger days. And then he was a stand-up comedian. He was in his 60s and he was found dead in a bathroom. Like it was so similar to the Bob Saget situation. And now that they've ruled that Bob Saget was murdered and it wasn't accidental, now it's even more suspicious. But she wrote the book before Bob Saget was killed, so we know it wasn't Jennifer.
Maybe that wasn't her planning, mapping out the plan. Now it's executed. I think they should look into it.
Who knows? Okay, so one last recommendation for you, Beth. Check out Kate Kessler, Detective in Dark Books. There you go. You're like,
it's really familiar.
Yeah, let me keep it on the screen for you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with our reread, rewrite, and burn. I'll go first. So I just have like all of our book titles in here. So you choose 3 books that you read and you say which one. So I got Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, and Always Watching by Chevy Stevens. This is a crazy one because these are all probably like some of my least favorite reads. So can I burn them all? I just reread Always Watching by Chevy Stevens though, so I don't want to reread it. I'd probably rewrite this one, Always Watching by Chevy Stevens. Let me find it real quick. This one, because I usually like thrillers that have that twist after twist after twist, like trope. But this one, I was just kind of like, and it did have that. And I'm just kind of like, okay, but can we get to the good part? Like, like, okay, can the book be done now? Basically. Let's see. The next one, Monday's Not Coming. This was probably one of my least favorites, along with this one. So I think I don't want to burn it. Maybe I need to reread it with different expectations. And then I guess that means I'm burning. Okay, so let me go through it again. So I will reread Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier.
Okay.
No, I'm going to reread. Sorry. Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson because I know that she's found her audience, but that audience does not include me. So I don't know. I had really high expectations for that one because that's the one that people always talk about. They say it's like her best book. And I don't know. There was part of it that I liked. It did have like a little bit of YA darkness in it. But there was this other part that I was just like pissed off by that I was just like 2 stars. So there's that one. Okay. Then I would reread. So that was my reread. My rewrite would be Always Watching. And I guess I'm burning Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier.
You can give it to me.
All right, Beth, let's see. All right, yours is Verity by Colleen Hoover, Kiss Cut, and No Exit by Taylor Adams. Please don't burn this one.
Well, No Exit was the only one that I did not give 5 stars to.
Oh my gosh, it's getting burnt.
What? I'm going to do it a little twist here.
Okay.
When I was reading Verity, I started to annotate it, right? So like I had highlighting, got halfway through it, and I was like, I am not an annotating kind of bitch. So I'm getting rid of this copy anyway, and I'm buying me a new one.
There you go. We're burning Verity.
But just that copy. Just the copy.
And then I would rewrite No Exit. Because 75% of that book was boring as fuck. And then I would, it was.
Gwen, do not agree, but okay.
The ending made it a 4-star. Okay. But the first part of that book was boring. And then I would reread Kiss Cut, even though that was the one that I didn't really like one of the characters in that book, but the book itself was still really good. So I'll reread it knowing that I don't like that person and maybe it won't hurt me as bad.
All right, Ashley, you're up. You have, and I did not put your DNFs in here because that would have been like, you could have been like burn and burn. Yeah. Okay, so you have The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor, The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, and what was the third one? The Silent Woods by the Kimmy Cunningham Grant.
I would reread The Silent Woods because it was just good. I would definitely burn The Golden Couple. It was not good. All right. And I guess I would rewrite The Chalk Man. I had like a Stephen King style to the writing that I didn't love, so I would switch the tone up a little bit. But
all right, my next 3 is Castle in the Clouds by Kristen Gier. That is a YA, like kind of cozy mystery. Kulti by Mariana Zapata, and Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. I'm going to reread Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. I was worried a little bit through the book that I was going to like hate it. And then I ended up really, really liking it. And like, I didn't cry reading it or anything, but as I was talking about it in my vlog, I started to get a little misty, like thinking about the characters and that I wasn't going to be reading about these characters anymore. And that is not me, you guys. You know I love plots, but it was the characters. So rereading Mary Jane.
You couldn't burn that one anyway because the cover is stunning.
Yes,
that
one is so freaking pretty.
Like, I love that.
I love that font.
And then I'm going to rewrite Castle in the Clouds. I don't know, maybe the beginning was a little slow on that one, and I find that's typical for like cozy mysteries anyway, but it was YA, so maybe I would like make it adult. I don't know. And then Burn Kulti by Mariana Zapata, and because the poop is just too much, you guys take a drink. All right, Beth, you're up. Okay, we have A Faint Cold Fear, Blindsighted, and the last one is Dolores Claiborne.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry,
That's what happens when you have 10 5 stars in a month.
exactly.
They're all 5 stars.
But which one was your favorite 5 stars? Blindsided. You've been talking about that one all the time. So,
and I've already read that one.
But you're gonna reread it again.
Yeah, because I love, like, when I read it the second time, my eyes got wet because of how much I love it. I know it's like really weird. Don't ask. Oh my God. I would rewrite Dolores Claiborne and maybe add like a couple sentences in it because I didn't think it was bad.
Just some line edits.
Put an extra period or something in there. And then I will, I guess, burn Blindsighted because I have 2 copies. So
okay, there you go. So you're taking the cheat way out, but I'll allow it. I know, she's looking for that loophole. All right, Ashley, we have Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village by Jay Cooper and Maureen Johnson. Do you have a copy of that book? I wanted to see what it looked like. And then The Harpy by Megan Hunter. Oh, it's a little one.
A little comic book.
Oh, I have that one.
Oh, that's cute, you guys. Twins! And okay, so that one, The Harpy by Megan Hunter, which I also don't know what that one looks like, and It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey.
This is a really random book for us both to have.
It is. This is an ARC copy of The Harpy, so it's not very useful to what it looks like. What was the third book that you said?
It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Yeah.
Oh no.
Why does it happen? Why does that sound familiar?
I would burn The Harpy. I really liked it, but it's just not for everyone. So if I've got to burn one of these 3, it's going to have to be The Harpy. But I did really like this one. I would reread Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered because I read it in 30 minutes. So I could reread this a million times. And it's very funny. It made my cheeks hurt from laughing so much. And I would rewrite It Happened One Summer and change up the dirty talk a little bit because that was not my style. But
I know, I remember you saying that. Okay, mine are The Séance Tea Party, which is a graphic novel.
Oh, I love that one.
I loved the art in here. And then I have Heard It in a Love Song by Tracey Garvis Graves, which we can't burn that because it has a beautiful cover, and Ghosts by Raina Telgemeier. So I would reread Ghosts by Raina Telgemeier. She's my favorite graphic novel, like middle grade graphic novel artist, author, person. I would maybe rewrite Heard It in a Love Song by Tracey Garvis Graves because I think it concentrated too much on their past relationships rather than the current relationship. And I wasn't invested in the past relationships because I knew they were in the past. And then I would burn Séance Tea Party, which I feel terrible about because in the back it talks about like her process of making this graphic novel and like how much work it's so much more work for graphic graphic novels because they do all the art. Well, not in all of them, but in this one, she did all of the artwork. She did all of the story, all of that. And I'm like, yeah, burn it. And it, so.
Well, maybe you should just donate. Change it to donate. Read. You could change it to donate. So read, rewrite, and then donate. Yes,
and donate. I love that. Okay, Beth, you're up. Let's see. Which one would you reread? Which one would you rewrite? And which one would you donate? Pieces of Her. Heartsick and A Noise Downstairs by Linwood Barclay.
All the books that I did not, well, besides one more. Those are all the books I did not like this month. So
donate all of them.
I would donate A Noise Downstairs. I think that a lot of people would enjoy that thriller, but it's not the types. It's like too, not fun, but like too mainstream. And like those aren't my favorite types of thrillers. So like Ruth Ware, Riley Sager, like I mean I enjoy those, but they're not my favorite. And that kind of more so went into the like, you know, anyway. So I would donate that thriller. And then, which is sad because in my TBR, I was reading the synopsis and it gave me chills because I was like, oh, this sounds so good. And then I would rewrite. What was the other one? Pieces of Her.
Heartsick.
Oh. I mean, if I had to reread one, it would be Heartsick because it's shorter.
There you go.
I would choose Rewrite for this one because I think there's a chunk in the middle that could be taken out. So, to make it less slow. Even though I like this one more than Heartsick, I would reread Heartsick because it's a lot shorter.
Yeah. That's fair. I like that. All right, Ashley, The Spanish Love Deception, Crossroads, and The Overnight Guest.
Burn The Spanish Love Deception.
It's actually here.
Yeah, no, burn The Spanish Love Deception. Rewrite The Overnight Guest because I had so many problems with the marketing and what that book was, and I would rewrite it to be what it was marketed as. And then reread Crossroads.
Nice. That was quick. All right. Let's see. For me, I have Jar of Hearts. The Girls Are Gone by these authors' names that I can't say. But I'll show it. And then Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. So I would reread Jar of Hearts. I would rewrite Reminders of Him. And unfortunately, I will burn The Girls Are Gone. Let me move my desk around. And
who's the author of The Girls Are Gone?
I'm going to show you. If I can, do I have it here?
Who's the author of Crossroads, Ashley?
Laurel Hightower.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was thinking like the Britney Spears movie. And I was like, what book is that?
Can you see the authors? It's Michael Brodkorb and Allison Mann.
Let me see the whole cover. It just sounds.
And you didn't like that one?
It's a true crime book.
Okay.
There's a different cover, I think.
Yeah,
okay.
I did like it. Okay. But this format where I can't even find a good page. Let me find a good page. Oh, where it has like the transcripts. It's just the formatting that was really like annoying. And also it did have pictures in it though. That was cool. Where are the pictures? Here they are. But so I am getting into true crime and it's because of Beth again, but it does have pictures in it. So that was kind of nice, but I'm glad I read it, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, you know? Okay. Who did let's see. All right, Ashley, you have two left.
The Girls Are Gone. I think there are two true crime books titled that same title because one of them is about a serial killer, a Long Beach serial killer. That's not
this
that
is
one.
About two young girls, 2 of 5 children that end up vanishing in the midst of their parents' divorce. And then the father works tirelessly with law enforcement to search day and night for his 2 missing daughters. It's kind of weird because I thought it was going to be more about the disappearance of the girls, but it was more about, I would say the majority of the book was about the divorce proceedings. And it actually starts just knowing that this is true and that these were actual they had the court transcripts in here and you're reading this and you're like, is that literally legal for her to act like that in court? Why is that allowed? And my mom, she's a paralegal. So, I was just talking to her about this, please tell me this is and she's like, yeah, unfortunately. And I'm just like, why? I don't understand. And I initially went to school for criminal justice. And I'm just whew, glad I dodged that bullet. But So I guess their divorce starts with she kind of tricks him into like taking all custody of all of the kids and taking ownership of like all the possessions, because they have 5 kids. They've been married for like 20 years, and her family has like a lot of money, and she put like trust funds for all of the kids. And then one day they went to check on the trust funds or something like that, and all of the money was gone. And then because of that, they started doing like investigation into that. And she's like, look, we don't want our finances to be like messed with. We don't want, because I think he owned a business, the father did. And, they weren't really like well off or anything. So they're like, I don't want our finances to be messed up. And since this is connected with my family, why don't we get a divorce on paper? Like we're still married. Nothing's going to change. We're going to live in the same house. It's all of our kids. Everything's fine. But let's just get this divorce so that way they can't come after us in any type of way. So he's like, yeah, like great idea. So she files the paperwork or whatever, and he just signs it because they've been married for 20 years. And then next thing you know, cops are busting in like, yeah, you don't live here anymore. You don't have contact with your kids. And he's like, what are you talking about? And of course he has to confess that, yeah, we were doing this illegal thing where we were still, married, but we weren't technically married on paper or whatever. We were lying to the court saying that we were divorced. But yeah, she just swindled him out of everything. And it's him fighting back saying, I didn't really know what I signed and stuff like that. But then in the midst of that divorce, 2 of the children go missing and stuff like that. So it's a lot, but I just thought it was going to focus more on the children that went missing. The girls are gone. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it was more about the divorce. So, okay.
I think that's the one you were thinking of. I was too, is this Lost Girls one.
Okay.
I don't know if you
That's
can
what
see
I was
that.
thinking of.
But that's the Long Island one.
And I think
with the
that
serial
book covers
killer
5 girls, and they've discovered more than 5 were actually involved. I think there's like 8 or 9 that they now. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Is that the one with the serial killer though? Oh, okay.
I haven't read it. But
Okay.
I haven't read it either, but I was like looking up the case.
Nice. I do like looking up those cases and like reading about them. Okay, so you have 2 more, The Arrangement and Anatomy, a Love Story. So you get to pick whatever you want for these 2.
I would reread Anatomy, a Love Story. I just really like that one. It did all the things that I like in books. I don't think a lot of people are going to like it, but I really liked it. And then The Arrangement. Yeah, the cover's amazing. Minus the Reese Witherspoon freaking sticker on.
You're like, take it off.
So mad about those. The Arrangement, I don't know. I wouldn't burn it. I don't know what I would rewrite about it, but I guess I would rewrite this one. Maybe add some commas in there.
What did you rate that one?
It's like objectively kind of like a 3-star for me because I'm sure I'm going to forget about it, but I enjoyed it so much while I read it that it was a 4-star because I screamed at one of the reveals in this. So that was enough to make me give it a 4.
I'm hoping to read that soon, and I've only heard good things. So of course, you with that salty opinion saying it was okay. There was some things.
Yeah.
All right, Beth, we have 2 more rounds for you. Faithless, Pretty Little Wife, and Beyond Reach.
Oh, I'm going to rewrite Beyond Reach.
Okay.
Because that's the last book in the series. And how I'm going to rewrite it is I'm just going to remove the last couple paragraphs. Because it was going to end with the happily ever after and the bitch took the rug out from underneath you. I was crying. So we're going to rewrite that. And then Faithless and what else?
Faithless, Pretty Little Wife.
Pretty Little Wife. Okay. Bullshit.
I would say donate Pretty Little Wife.
If I get rid of If I get rid of Faithless, then my series is
I did too.
But I enjoy Pretty Little Wife though. Pretty Little Wife is like Karin Slaughter tamed down. Pretty Little Wife is very similar to Pretty Girls, but Karin Slaughter goes into more detail. But they have the same thing happens in both books. So I enjoy Pretty Little Wife, and it'll be my recommendation for people who ask for similar works to Karin Slaughter, but not so dark. But if I can't donate none of them. I'm gonna just donate Pretty Little Wife. I'm sorry, I cannot break up my series. I cannot have this book on my shelf. So I'm gonna donate Pretty Little Wife, and then I'm gonna read a copy, and then I'm gonna have Faithless still on my shelf. But I'm gonna rewrite Beyond Read.
All right. Last one, Beth. Sworn to Silence. I'll Be Gone in the Dark. And the one I can't say, Indelible. Is that amazing?
I can't say it either.
Okay.
I'm gonna burn I'll Be Gone in the Dark. That was a dumpster fire of a true crime book.
I like that one.
It doesn't.
I read it years ago. I read it a long time ago.
I understand that Michelle McNamara died before the book was released, right? However, we don't get any kind of answers whatsoever in that book. The book, which is really cool because she was friends with Paul Holes and his the other guy that does the podcast with him, anyway, and talks about him in the book. But they literally caught the dude the same time the book was published. So why would the publishers release the book unfinished when they caught, like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. And then there were so many things put into the book that had nothing to do with the case whatsoever. And they would refer to the killer. I know he was referred to as many different names, but being at as the time the book was written, he was identified as one name, right? So why would you call him all these other different names throughout the book? Just refer to him as his main name. You could tell us that he was called those before, but
mention them, but.
Because if you watch a true crime documentary on him now and they talk about his past, they still refer to him as the Golden State Killer and not the Ear or the original Night Stalker or this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And then she inserted things about tarantulas in there that have nothing to do with the case, or about her next door neighbor that has nothing to do with the case. It was a very unfinished and very rough draft. You know what I mean? So I didn't like it at all. But rest in peace, Michelle McNamara. I do believe if she was still alive today, and her death is so fucking suspicious. So anyway, I do believe that if she was still alive today, that she would be the queen of true crime, because she started the whole true crime stuff back in the day with her blog. But what was the other two books?
Sworn to Silence and Indelible.
I will rewrite Sworn to Silence. What will I rewrite about it? I don't know. I'll rewrite it a little bit, fluff it up something. I don't know. And then I'll reread. What's it called? Indelible.
Yes.
The cover is really cool, I think. It's like a mouth.
That is interesting. In the duct tape. Very interesting. Okay, so that is all of our rounds. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to go through these comments as fast as possible and see if you guys had anything. Always Watching is on my march to BR, but now I'm nervous. Don't be nervous. I actually think it's a really good book, and it has really good cult vibes. I actually have a video coming out tomorrow of me reading it, so you can watch that. I love Tiffany D. Jackson so much, and Allegedly and Grown are my favorites. Grown is important, but I think about Allegedly 24/7. That's the one. That's the one I'm slightly still interested in. Oh, okay. Monday's Not Coming is your least favorite, huh? Well, that's good to know. Burn It. I'm speechless that she thought No Exit was boring. I know.
Well, okay. Listen, if you were the person that came across a little girl in a van, I would be going into that. All right, who the hell's got the little girl in the van? We about to team up on this motherfucker. We can get them. I feel like if you would have been there guns blazing, then.
Okay,
you know
I would not have done that.
Yeah.
I would have more taken the route that she did, where you're trying to find out. I mean, at least she didn't go, oh my gosh, there's a girl in the van. And I'm just going to sit here and hope help comes soon. At least she was doing things to try to figure out whose van it was, to try to get the girl out. But she was a teenage, she was like a young girl. She had no protection, no self-preservation. There's all these people.
No, I don't care because I don't care. Like, why would you? No, to me, she was stupid, is what she was. But I will say the one guy was a really good villain. Like, he was a really good villain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we could have prevented some wrongdoings there at the end if she would have just went in gun, you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck's van? Or be like, hey, who owns that van? It's got a flat tire. And she would have been like, boom, bam, pow, y'all too. Okay, y'all are the thing. You know what I mean? Like, not be like, okay, he drives the dumpster. They drive the truck. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt like she was dumb for a lot of the book, but okay.
Yeah, she's not donating. She's burning it. I enjoyed your parts. What would you change about the overnight guest?
So it's just marketed as this like woman in an isolated cabin in the snow, and she has this child that she sees out in the snowstorm, and oh my gosh, what's going to happen? So I was like, great, I love isolated snowy cabin middle of nowhere stories. No, there's 3 different POVs and timelines. You spend so much time in the year 2000 with just this like detective story of what happened with these brutal murders in the farmhouse that she's in today. And so it just pulls you out of the story a lot. So I would rewrite all of that, get rid of that. Boom, thriller, isolated cabin, mystery, intrigue.
Yeah, pass the salt. I'm going to read the arrangement. I have that and another one. I really liked I did too, but I feel like it was a little forgettable, kind of blends in
I agree.
after a while. Now I'm excited to get to it because you said that. Pretty Life was good. You're not donating it. He's rescuing it from the donate pile. What true crime books would you recommend? I've only read Be Gone in the Dark.
I haven't read many.
I would recommend American Kingpin by Nick Bilton. That one, it's not like a serial killer type thing. It's about the guy that started the Silk Road underground website that traded anything: drugs, weapons, organs, counterfeit cash, passports, things like that. It was so good. You have to read it. American Kingpin. And it actually has like a longer subtitle. Man, that was so good. That's mine.
I haven't read a ton, but I will say like the one that I love the most is The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule, but like the newest edition, not the older ones, like the ones that, you know, has been completed. But that's because like Ted Bundy is.
She's going to say her favorite serial killer.
Don't think of me in any other way, okay? But he's my favorite serial killer.
I knew it. I love
so like,
Bundy.
But not in the sense like I support him.
Right.
Let's raise him from the dead.
He's fascinating.
Like, yeah, fascinating.
He's like, to me, one of the most evil ones. But whatever. Because like they suspect that he has murdered over 100 girls, and the things that he did to them, Jesus. But another one that's really good is If You Tell by Greg Olson. The bitch is being released this year.
Yeah.
Okay. So read it. Alert yourself so you know if she moves in next door to you, you can go out there with them hands, you know, and tell her we ain't playing.
That is so true. Because like that lady.
Oh, whoa! I couldn't even imagine.
I'm gonna have to put that on my list.
She was so not only evil to her kids, but like she had friends that she did stuff. Friends because they were not her friends, but
she did worse things to her kids. I mean to her friends than she did with her kids.
And but her kids, she did. I mean, that's dark.
Her name is Shelley Notek with a K, like Knotec, I think. If you just want to Google her, she's being released this year after she like brutally tortured her children and murdered people. She ain't even been in there long because like they got rid of all evidence, so they didn't have any like physical evidence to whatever. So they were going by word of mouth, but they had like no CPS cases involved, no teacher. It was literally word of mouth from the children that put her in prison for like half a year, it feels like.
All right, here's Deja coming in with, as a 19-year-old college student, I would not go in guns blazing at all.
No, I would be terrified. I would be like, take a photo of the license plate, mind my business, get through the night, call the cops tomorrow.
But also, please tell me how her phone stayed. Okay, so it all started at like 10 o'clock around at night, right? When she pulls up there, her phone's at like a 10%. Then it's like 8 o'clock in the morning and her phone is still at like a 3%. Bitch, how? How?
Right. I remember you saying that. And I was like,
not
that is very true.
How? And then it like from page 100 to 200, it's at 2% the whole time. Ain't no iPhone on this earth. Jesus. Gonna stay on. You know what I mean? Like, no. No.
That's going in it for the realistic. Is this what would really happen? Would her iPhone really stay charged that long?
It would not.
See, this is why Beth cracks me up. Okay, so Marcy had a recommendation. American Predator is a great true crime book.
Oh, that's going to be my book club pick too. I just picked that one up.
So when is that going to be? Just tell us your next book club picks.
No. I don't remember
because I know next month is Postmortem. Then April is the White Devil in the White City.
Hang on, I have to pull it up. And then I know we're reading Birdman by Mo Hader, which I don't know if y'all follow Crime by the Book on Instagram, but me and her love a lot of the same. She doesn't know that I exist because she's like Instagram royalty and I'm over here with like 3 followers.
Yeah, she's like going to the movie theaters with Riley Sager and I'm like, hello.
But she has a really good, if you like crime thrillers, she has a lot of good thriller recommendations. So April is The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson, which is a true crime, but it's a genre blend. So, and then like there are some historians that say it's not 100% accurate, but there's going to be a movie that is coming out with that book. And I want to say Leonardo DiCaprio plays in it and somebody else. So that I was already like, okay, we reading it. Then May is Dark Roads by Chevy Stevens. June is Birdman by Mo Hader. July is The Crow Girl by Eric Axel's son. That's another Crime by the Book recommendation. She said that.
Does that have like the black cover with the woman with her? Okay.
She says it's the most disturbing book that she's ever read. So I was already like, okay, we reading it. Or disturbing thriller. Yeah. And then August is American Predator. And then September is Girl Forgotten by Karin Slaughter. October is Pet Cemetery. One, right? Yeah. October is Pet Cemetery by Stephen King. And November is another true crime book called Savage Appetites. And then we're taking December off because last December we read The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig, and we kept having to push the live because like Christmas and New Year's and
holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Those are the reading. We try to do mostly backlisted books so that like people can get them from their library pretty easily and stuff. But we make an exception for Miss Slaughter. We read her new release out last year. We're reading her new release again this year.
And she's like your fave, so you have to. If you tell, horrific. Yeah. American Predator is so good. Hell in the Heartland. It's about 2 girls in Oklahoma who disappeared on the same night. The one girl's family trailer home was set afire. Oh, I think I have that on my wish list. Sounds very familiar. Devil in the White City is so bad. We're going to ignore that comment. Dark Roads are so good. I look forward to rereading that one. All right. So those are all of the comments I see. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we close everything out? Nope, we're good. Nope. Beth, you look like you have something to say.
This is the shortest live stream that I have ever been part of.
Yes, I know.
Not like in a bad like
right.
Really
efficient.
Strange. Already getting off.
I know it does. Let's see what other people said. Great live show. Thank you. Love these live shows. Awesome. Well, I know it's also Sunday night and people have to work, so I try to, think about them. Not me, but I try to think about them. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Ashley, Beth, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget their channels, their Instagrams, all the books they read. If you have any spoiler questions for them, go over to their Instagram, ask them. Hopefully they'll be able to help you out. But all right, bye guys.
Bye.